Let's talk about the apocalypse, guys.
Oh.
Good.
Gas prices on the road to $5 nationwide very soon. That's the news. Congratulations, everyone. I hope your vote for Joe Biden was worth it. It's at $4.71 per gallon. In California, it's over $8. So, apocalypse when?
Apocalypse now. No, that's a movie.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say that out loud.
Yeah.
It was too tempting not to say.
Yeah.
You kind of look like me if we go through one more pandemic.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then shaved.
I feel you.
I feel like we both
nice beard, by the
we
way.
Can, we can interchange our looks right now.
Yeah, I like your hair.
Yeah.
It's parted very nicely. Apocalypse, I don't know. What does apocalypse mean? Does that mean the end of the world?
We talked about
Or
the
just
people who want
great
revolution and
reckoning?
all that stuff. And we can talk about the political implications of what would drive actual conflict, but it's going to be this. When people can't afford to go to work anymore, when the cost of getting to work is more than the work produces, people stop working. And then
Of course. Yeah. Why would you go to work?
Remember the toilet paper shortage? That was people were really scared.
Yeah.
You know,
like
that's
2 weeks.
toilet paper.
And that was weird, too, because I was like, just use your hand and then wash your hands, right?
Gosh, okay.
Aren't we all doing that?
Stop in the shower. I don't know.
Literally. Yes.
Heroin?
Gross.
I suggest it. It actually feels better, too. It's less dry.
Wait, I wanted to ask.
I was joking, Ian.
I don't joke around.
I gotta ask him this question. Tim, you said a number a long time ago. A certain percentage of people's income, if it goes toward food, that will be the marker of a revolution. What percentage was that? Something like
I don't remember. We were reading
42%?
something.
Yeah.
Depends if you're
dating.
dating a feminist or not.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's
because
fair.
they eat a lot,
It's going
don't
to
they?
be
Yeah, sure
90%.
do.
Because they're like, I'm healthy at any size.
That's right.
And then you're like, okay, dear.
Okay, whatever.
And then you're giving them the French fries.
So the
Yeah.
apocalypse from ancient Greek is a literary genre in which a supernatural being reveals cosmic mysteries or the future to a human intermediary. Has that already happened? Is that what the internet is? Have we created like some sort of super being that's communicating with us and making people crazy?
Elon.
Don't look at it. It's like the Ark in Indiana Jones.
It's like the
You look at it, it
angel.
blasts. You're like, ah.
Yeah.
That's what the internet is. The phone is the arc. You turn it on, you're like, oh, and your face melts.
That's what Twitter
kinda how
feels
you
like.
Exactly
feel.
what's
I know. That's
happening.
so true.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be a good.
Do you feel like the reality is more now the internet than reality? I think we've actually we've just crossed the
Merged.
line.
Yeah.
Well, it's the younger generation.
Yeah.
So when I say this for people don't understand that you don't convince people to join your side. Like it happens, it does. An individual is convinced of your argument and then becomes whatever politics you have. What really happens for the most part is young people have those values and then grow up with them. Rarely are people actually jumping ship or changing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're saying the reality becoming more the internet. It's because boomers and Gen Xers who grew up in reality are slowly aging out.
Right.
Once they're gone and it's all millennials, the internet will be everything.
Right.
Unless the power goes out. I normally don't I hardly ever say like we need some sort of catastrophe to show people what really matters in life. I think it's from time to time, but I don't want to bring that on people. But if the power went out and people have to reconcile.
It. Yeah, that would be it.
They would be like fish out of water. They would just like fall down and go like. Bop, bop.
I was thought even if they just stopped TikTok right now, there'd be millions of people in the street just dancing, just like
For no
hoping someone sees it.
This is the weirdest thing.
We'd have
like,
a meltdown.
when TikTok first started happening, I remember we were in Jersey.
Yeah.
And I look out the window and there's some like little girl in the middle of the street just doing these weird dancing. And I was like, what's going on? And then
She just saw the flag. She's having a seizure.
but in the middle of the street. And then she walks up to a mailbox and picks her phone up and I was like, oh, she was filming herself. And I was like, what is this?
That was weird,
and then I saw it all over the place. People would be in the malls and they would just be like standing in the corner, like doing weird. And I'm like, wow. Like hearing songs that no one else can hear.
It's over. Yeah. It's over. We can't come back from that.
Yo, people are going to plug into Elon Musk's Neuralink to join the Metaverse
So
in 2
fast.
seconds. Yeah. They're going to be bagging. Elon Musk is going to be like, the first edition of Neuralink can be surgically implanted and we'll do it for free. Just come over here and we'll jam the spike in your neck. And they're going to be like, please, Elon, me.
It's cool. It's very cool.
I want to be in TikTok.
So like
live in that reality.
if we've got a sort of a caste system set up right now where you have the really wealthy people that never think about money, really they never have to even think about it unless they want to make more of it. Then you have like the working class and then you have the abject poor. Now if you have the meta versions where they might be lower than the abject poor. It might actually be considered abject poor. They're just like getting intravenous, nutrition and harvesting their body heat or something but then it's going to create a class of like workers that hate reality but are willing to do it because they don't want to be part of the lower slave class, like the metaverse class. I think it's going to create another.
You guys ever watch
Another
Battlestar
class.
Galactica?
Yeah.
No, you never seen it?
It's pretty good. The TV show is
So
good.
one of the best shows ever. Totally. So I'll give you the short version. There's a bunch of different colonies on all these different planets. They make these AI robots. The AI robots go to war with them. Then eventually the civilization gets wiped out because, the robots advance themselves and then declare war. So now all that's left is like a fleet of ships that are traveling away from the wiped out civilization. And there are ships that refine the materials they need for fuel and stuff. And the people who work on them have no choice, and they're basically slaves. They work 80 hours. They don't get time off because if they stop working, the whole thing collapses. They all die. But then the captain, of course, he has to deal with the conflict of struggling to survive, but he's got the nice whiskey in his office and, he's in charge. And that's just that's the reality of struggle in the real world.
This is a documentary about Amazon?
What?
Sounds like, yeah.
Yeah. So they actually have episodes where it's like people are trying not to work because their lives are miserable on these mining ships or refining ships. And they're like, if you stop working, we all die.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we've got to rotate other people in because people can't do this anymore. And they're like, if they can't do it, they can't do it. And we need the people who can. So that's the reality of existence. So if we ever created like an actual metaverse civilization, then you're going to have some people who are the privileged elites who are in the metaverse and the poor people shoveling mud and dirt outside to make the machine run.
With their masks on.
With their masks on.
So you could have classes within the metaverse of rich people in the metaverse that can control the code and see the code,
That's
and
right.
then everybody else.
Yeah, the Zuckerberg class. They're going to walk up to you, Ian, and you're going to be like, Zuck, I don't like what you did. And he's going to go beep, 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 and you're going to turn into a giraffe.
He'll like teleport in, and I'll be like, I want to teleport. He's like, if you work your whole life, you might be able to. And 40 years go by of me trying, and then, no, it doesn't happen.
There will be the elite class. I mean, it's happening now. We don't even act. It's not even sci-fi. You've got the powerful elites who can control big tech and manipulate what you see and hear to make you think what they want you to think. It already exists.
You're seeing this within comedians. They're starting to go, all right, what was banned on TikTok this week? So what are the things you have to avoid? Oh, you got to make a thumbnail like this. Don't include this image. A friend of mine, his TikTok was just taken down because he had a picture of a gun.
Wow.
And it's I'm banned from there every other week.
We're permabanned from TikTok.
I've never
Yeah.
even got
Don't even know why.
But it's starting to shape comedy.
Yeah.
Cancel
Yep.
culture is shaping comedy, and everyone's terrified
So
to
I
take
talked
a risk.
I talked to a guy we might have on the show, and the general idea is they know they can't win on free speech grounds, so they're trying to control what young people see and hear, so that, let Timcast IRL have their conversations. Who cares? They're in their 30s. By the time these 15-year-olds are in their 30s, they're going to hate free speech and they're going to do as they're told.
It's
That's
happening.
where we're going.
Yeah, it's launched already.
It's not free speech. If our speech is getting censored by corporations
Yeah.
at will just because of what the CEO wants to do, that's not freedom.
They're getting people to actually cancel themselves. That's kind of how I think of it.
Yeah.
It's because I started to do that. I started to censor myself on stage and with my writing. And I'm like, oh, I'm actually canceling myself, and my material's getting so boring, so people aren't watching it.
Just do a joke where you just bleep out the words. So keep the joke, but just bleep it.
Right on TikTok.
Yeah. So or on stage. So you can be like, I met a guy, right? He came from this country, a bunch of bleeps,
That would be a funny joke. Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's bleeping bleeps. You know these bleeps. This bleep knows what I'm talking about. He's a little bleepist. You got a
But
bleepist
you can't
right
say
here.
that because you'll get banned on the internet for hate speech if you
Yeah.
call someone a bleep.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Or just
really
carry a thing that beeps, and so you talk in the
Push the
microphone. And
button.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
Great idea.
then you can keep all your jokes.
I think you're right about self-censorship. It's one of the more dangerous things that can happen to someone right now because it's
Yeah.
such early stage of like internet censorship. We have an opportunity. We're constantly at crossroads to fix and make these things better with free software, copyleft software.
Yeah.
But self-censorship in the meantime is the road to ruin.
I mean, I had millions of views taken off. I did a Fauci impression, and they actually called it removed for imitation.
What?
What?
It's like, this is comedy.
What?
You were pretending to be Dr. Fauci?
Yeah, I did it, just talking about, like the first shot really is just to loosen up the vein. Then we did the third, fourth, and fifth shot just to create a Pfizer community. Then 7 through 10 are placebos, getting us to 12.
That's great.
And all of these are removed, and they say removed for imitation.
Now that's different than impersonation. Impersonating someone is illegal. You're not allowed to. I'm not allowed to tell people I'm Tim Pool and use
Right.
Tim's credit card. Like
Yeah.
that's illegal.
Yeah.
If I go on social media and make a Tim
This
Pool
isn't
account, they'll probably
impressions are
ban
being
it
banned.
if Tim wants it
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
But
My Trumps are taken down so fast, like faster than Nancy Pelosi with her eyebrows. She does the.
They won't let you do Trump.
Oh, Trump was removed 2 days ago in, I think it was 11 minutes from TikTok.
Wow.
And it's like,
It's because they don't want people to enjoy
They're
Trump.
CCP. They can't handle the power of goodness.
No.
I mean,
These Trump impersonations make Trump likable.
yeah, because he's funny.
Right.
Whatever you would think of him, he's actually really funny. But it's so scary that now the guidelines on TikTok are 5,000 pages long. Same with Instagram. They can remove it for any reason they want. And they have so many reasons now where it could just be removed because somebody got a little upset.
Oh yeah, it's removed because CCP thinks you're going to upturn their communist dictatorship.
Right.
It's ByteDance is the company that owns it, and that's basically run through the CCP. I've never touched the crap. I refuse.
Yeah, but our kids are using
boycotting
it.
TikTok. It's trash.
But it became like a survival thing for me because my Instagram got shadow banned, and it's like my TikTok blew up, and then I started to tour, and then they shut it down, and people are it's a problem because
They want to control the culture of young people so that they believe what they want them to believe and behave the way they want them to behave. And so the people who run these companies, it's a CCP, right? They're manipulating us. They're attacking us. They're our adversaries.
I hate to say it, but
blows my mind.
it's at some point you got to call a spade a spade. Like in 1934 Germany, I don't think I would have been happy with Hitler's rhetoric, and I probably wouldn't have been on maybe I wasn't there. I don't know, but the slaves, the Uyghurs in Western China, unconscionable. I can't deal with it. I own freaking software that was built by these people, unfortunately, or hardware I should call it. But I can't stand for it, man. That's slave. We still live. If you guys really care about slavery and racism, turn your eyes on the CCP.
Bro, they don't.
Well,
I
some
don't think
do.
anybody,
It's just
for the
for
most part, did.
political,
They just wanted to move it.
power.
Smash the ignorance.
Yeah.
Do you know what was the biggest contributor to the end of slavery? It was automation.
Oh,
It was industrialization.
Yes.
I was reading about it when humans did when the easiest thing for a person was to have a slave, they would fight to maintain that slave. But once industrialization began, and it was actually cheaper to maintain a machine than a person, then you lost economic incentive. The reality was humans were motivated by money and greed to have slaves. I mean, that's fairly obvious,
Yeah.
right? So once it was cheaper to have a machine, they were just like, you lost the support for it, and then abolitionist sentiment started to grow. It's crazy, right? People assume it was a moral thing, where humans woke up one day and were like, I've realized it's wrong what we're doing. No, the reality was they were making more money not having slaves, so no one supported it, and then the fight.
I'm imagining some guy going, "Is this bad? Is this
Right.
bad?
Yeah.
On a scale from 1 to 100, how
Tony,
bad
is
is
this?"
Yeah, this plays with what you were saying about Battlestar Galactica too. They have slaves because they have to, literally, to survive. For the ship to survive, they need people to work 80-hour weeks in the coal mine.
That's crazy. I think your civilization would collapse at that point. Like in Battlestar Galactica, when they have these people in the refining ships or whatever it was, I'd be like, no, dude, people would probably just lose it. Like that. The show is about them adrift, basically, with like limited resources. It's one thing to be on a planet where you can always go off and try and survive on your own. It's another thing to just be like in a desert with nothing.
Do you think they'll be able to convince enough people where it really becomes the dominant force? Just what do you want to call it? Woke brain disease, whatever it is. But
don't know.
Really is a brainwashing.
I feel like young people are starting to snap. Like they're sick of it. They're sick of young people are rebellious, right?
And they don't have lives anymore. No one has a life. No one has a relationship or a house or a good job. So what's
they're
left?
losing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need more relationships, more jobs, more cool jobs, like using lasers to make graphene.
So I think these blank slaters who think they can raise people to be a certain way are going to have a rude awakening when they realize that it's a little bit of nature and nurture.
Yep.
And you can't just remove the nature from people. So these young people who are like on TikTok, they crave human affection and attention, and they're not getting it. They're going to snap. And they're going to say, the system is broken. I don't want to live this way.
I used to think you could get enough of relationships through internet video chat. And I had a friend tell me, like, no, I don't think so, Ian. It was like in 2007, and I was manic about the internet, the power of internet video. I was like, no, I mean, you can meet the most intelligent people. You can have a video chat with them. You don't need Secret Service there. You can, this is it. This is the future, and it's
Doesn't compare to this.
yeah. There's some sort of you can smell each other.
There
which
was
I know
a-
you know.
Yeah. Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a fact. Humans are happier around nature.
Yes.
And so they actually did controls to determine people's rated levels of happiness, and they found that people who live in cities are unhappy because of the city. And if you take people from cities and bring them to nature, their levels of happiness go up.
Yep.
I'm dying inside from being in New York. I mean, it really is dangerous and it's falling apart right now. But
Get out.
it's taken a
Escape
toll.
from
Yeah,
New York.
yeah. No, I'm plotting.
There's
You know what I see when I walk outside? Chickens.
Yeah.
Birds.
And you know what they say when I walk outside? Buck.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
Andrew Huberman, the neuroscientist. Are you guys familiar with his work? Huberman Labs. He's brilliant.
I dabble in his work, but I'm not too familiar.
He's been on Rogan a couple times, or
Okay.
at least once, and he has uncovered, or has been really pushing, looking into the horizon every day for like 15 minutes. Because the amount, I don't know if it's about your peripheral vision, but it's the unfocused, long-distance view is supposedly one of the greatest things you can do for your mental health, according to
Wow.
Andrew. I defer to the scientist on that one.
In Montana, that's where we shot Terror on the Prairie, and we were in between two mountain ranges in the middle of a prairie.
Bitterroots?
And I just stared out into the.
Which ranges?
Who do you play in the movie?
I play a guy. His name is Longhair, believe it or not.
Oh.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Longhair, and he was in the Civil War and not on the correct side,
Oh.
no.
depending who you ask. And me, Nick Searcy,
Love Nick.
Nick Searcy, Heath Friedman, an actor who actually passed away right after the film,
Oh, wow.
and Daniel Day-Lewis's son in his first
Oh, wow.
ever film, Gabe. And the four of us, we're just seeking revenge and going after Cowboy Cerrone, who's not home, but Gina's home, his wife, and then we spend 2 hours fighting her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That sounds fun.
Nice.
When's that out?
Little knock.
June 14th
Oh.
on the Daily Wire.
Daily Wire cranking
Yeah,
out the
good
hits.
stuff.
Huh?
Very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, they're man. I think they're actually going to be a contender for Netflix in a few years.
Yep, I agree.
I think Netflix thinks that too. They're done. I mean, they're basically like, hey, we can't make these. Did you see what they said? We can't make these crappy movies like The Irishman anymore. I don't know if they didn't use the word crappy, but they were like we can't use these like ego projects ananymore. Where like
Wow.
rich
Dude.
people get to just
Obi-Wan. It was like there was an article I saw and it said Star Wars has a like a plot problem. It's like it's all done, it's all written. We know exactly
Missing
what the
Gina
story is.
Carano. That's the plot.
All they're doing with these shows is like let's just reuse the same characters. And I'm just like if they tried doing the sequel movies and they were just total trash. The industry is decaying, just totally in decay.
Well,
That's
I
it.
think it's a lot of the woke ideology
Yep.
thing. They're just picking people based on what they look like instead of their talent or their audition. They're just putting them, in front of the chessboard. And Daily Wire, if they keep it up, I think they're going to clean up. They're not doing that. They're taking
I
the
will
best
say-
script. They just had 3 female leads in a row, and they said it's not because we wanted to have it was a decision. Those were the best scripts that came across our table, and they read thousands.
Yeah.
And if they really keep it up, I mean, they cast our film. They saw me on Instagram and gave me an audition. They didn't do a social background check, which
Yep.
they do now on Netflix and all these shows.
Wow.
They just picked the best auditions, and the film's incredible. And I think their movies are going to be people are going to want to see them.
I will give a shout out to
Nice.
Guardians of the Galaxy because Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 I think are some of my favorite movies just because they use the old soundtrack. So you have this movie and the way they use the old music and brought it all back is just one of the coolest things. But it also is indicative of like a decaying culture where we have like I think because of Guardians of the Galaxy, all these old songs from the 70s reached top charting positions. And I'm like, it's cool because the music was better in a lot of ways back then, in my opinion, even though I wasn't around for it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, some of it was. I mean, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, 4 dudes singing 4-part vocal harmony for the recording all together.
but they went nuts. Well, Young did.
Neil Young.
Lost
yeah.
his mind.
Neil Young's a pretty special man. Hey, we're gonna go to super chat soon, but I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you, like, you said you were basically bankrupt in like abject poverty, then you now are making 6 figures because of Peterson. But like, what was that transition like for you?
Well,
What-
Jordan gave me $100,000.
Oh, that's
okay,
more
that'll
that's
Very
more
nice.
simple.
yeah.
That's good.
I just have to
Simplest
do an
answer.
impression of him, like on every podcast.
I
and
think
then-
for young kids that have been pursuing the entertainment industry, I was in Hollywood for like a decade too.
It's
what,
scary.
What would you advise?
God, it's the Wild West right now. I mean, look, I actually started losing agents and managers. They'd say outright, we can't help you because you're white. They'd email me. They'd tell me on the phone. The last manager that scouted me said, we aren't taking white men. It's a real problem. And I'm not saying some white men aren't going to get in. And by the way, this hurts everybody. This isn't even about white or black or brown or anything. Because if you give someone a job who isn't qualified in Hollywood, they're going to get eaten alive. because it is a brutal, brutal business. But what I did, this is just my own story. I just said, screw it. I started making my own stuff, writing my own scripts, funded all of it. I've made probably 1,000 videos at this point, anywhere from a sketch to a 1-minute thing. And that's how I got my first movie role. I've been acting for 17 years.
Wow.
And so I hate to say there's no real way to go right now, but they're certainly not looking for talent.
Nope. Just
But
checking off boxes, I guess.
They know it when they see it.
They do, yeah.
That's why you put yourself out there.
Yeah. I had to give up the dream. I actually had to kill the dream because I started to get booked on TV shows and bigger roles, and I thought, oh, now I'm going to make a living. And then it just came to a screeching halt. And it was the woke ideology, and they weren't hiding it. And so I said, I have to kill the dream, do it myself, and that's it.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.